Hey folks, Sega Sonic fan here, just making a real quick video showing you all how to remove capacitors from a Game Gear. This is a real simple thing, so this will be a short one. But I got a request from this guy Joe, who's very nice, and gave me this Game Gear. Thank you, Joe. You're awesome. This Game Gear will go to good use. It already has been, actually, because I was using it for size testing when I was doing some laser cutting for my new board that I've designed for it. But anyway, here is a Game Gear. Now, I actually removed some stuff already, so I apologize. I should have waited, but I had to use it today. But yeah, let's go over that real quick. So this is the power board. It sits in there, and there are a few pieces, which I'm going to pull out of this bag here with one hand while I hold this camera. Okay. On the adhesive on the battery cover. Hold on, folks. I'm making a mess here. This is hard to do one-handed. So there is normally a black cover that sticks on like that over your battery compartment. I actually have some pieces that are stuck to that. But anyway, you get the idea. It goes over there. And that's to keep your battery terminals from being exposed when the covers are off, from the inside of the motherboard being accessible when the battery covers are off. And then there is a red power switch that goes on there, and there's two screws, one there, and this is plugged in like so. That's the power connector for the main power board. This is the power and sound. Power and audio to the soundboard here, and this is the speaker cable to the soundboard. So you want to disconnect those. Be gentle. If you have access to tweezers, I highly recommend prying these up from the white plastic, because if you pull on these wires, these will break very quickly. They're very old, and the crimps are just not holding up in these at all. I've had a bunch of problems with units lately just from a couple pulls. So really highly recommend using tweezers to pry these up, the white bit here, and not pulling on the gray wires if you can help it. And now we'll just take a look at the capacitors. I made a video detailing how to replace them. One thing I did not mention in my video that I'm a much bigger fan of nowadays is using some isopropyl alcohol with Q-tips. Here is a nice little bottle you can get for like $1. Eye drop bottle, and you get yourself a bunch of Q-tips. These are pretty basic, but I know they make fancier ones. I have not been able to find ones that are like super lint free. These always leave a little bit of lint, but that's one thing I wanted to include in my last video. Is I highly recommend getting the board hot, getting your hot air station. I use around, I think, 250 to 300 degrees, and that will begin to melt loosen up the remaining flux and other contaminants. Then you dip this in the alcohol and rub it. It'll soak up a lot of nasty stuff. So I used a brush in my other video, and a brush will work, but a brush isn't necessarily going to soak up a lot of the nasty stuff. So that's my new favored method, is that in combination with the brush. Anyway, just had to say that because that was the last video for this topic. And to remove the capacitors, it's pretty simple. The very best way to do this is to take some wire cutters, to go in. Let's see if I can move my light slightly better here. And let's go for this. You can see how nasty it is there, by the way. See all this gunk here and here. These are obviously leaking. So the best way to do this is if you go in here and try to clip the leads like so. Camera zoomed in, so it's going to be extra shaky. And well, that actually just came off when I was clipping the leads, but there's a little bit of glue under here, so normally I'll have to do a little bit of prying as well. But the idea is you don't want to stress the leads that are attached to the pads here. if you stress those, you risk pulling up the pads. Sorry for the shaky camera here, folks. And so you want to isolate the strain that you're going to put on these above the pads. That's kind of the trick. Like so, and that one actually came off. Now with this one, it's a little trickier. I might actually come in here with my iron, because that's actually glued down so much. Of course, the plastic is remaining. But the idea is to go slow, take your time. Oof, that's getting super shaky, sorry. And doing this left-handed is actually kind of tricky to do, recording at the same time. Because normally I hold the board down with my hand. But let's try this one over here, see if this one's a little bit easier. Yeah, that worked out. Ta-da! And then you go in with your iron later and remove the remaining bit of the lead. The thing that you don't want to do, and I mean, you know, it's quick, but gosh, you're going to have problems usually, is if you go in here with pliers and you just start, you can kind of loosen it sometimes that way, which is nice. But if you just pull this up or even to the side, you really do risk pulling off those pads. And if you use a soldering iron right away, that's not going to help with the glue that's under these. So it helps a little bit if you loosen these up. If you want, you can do it like that, or just clip the leads first. Loosening it, and then clip your leads. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm a broken record here, but again, the reason why we're doing this is we don't want to damage the pads. They're probably already got some damage, but we don't want to damage them worse. Perfect example, actually, on the assembler forums right now. I was helping somebody that had actually damaged the pads that we're looking at right now. Both these pads were ripped up, and they had to trace out through the schematic, find out exactly where they're connected to these transistors, and that wasn't fun. That took them an extra bit of time. So yeah, save yourself some time, save yourself some trouble, and just loosen it, clip the leads, then go in with your iron, then go in with your flux, then go in with your desoldering braid, then go in with your flux and your iron again with clean solder, then desolder braid, then isopropyl alcohol and brush cleaning, and then finally new solder with new caps. It's a multi-stage process if you're going to do it correctly. If you're not going to do it correctly, you really shouldn't be doing it at all, because you're just going to do a band-aid on a repair that's eventually just going to break again. So please check out my other video about how to do this correctly. It's a 1-hour video showing you all the details of a full recap of a Game Gear and why it does not take 10 minutes or 20 minutes or however much those people on eBay that you're paying $30 to do it. It really is a full hour to do it correctly, and it's not a super fun job. So I don't like to do them. I don't like it I try to avoid it when I can. But I have a lot of Game Gears I have to fix up, so I'll be doing it nonetheless. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and big thanks to Joe for donating this Game Gear to me. And once I get it all working, we'll have to play some NBA Jam. Yeah! I haven't played this one before, but you say it's good, so I believe you. We'll check it out. It's a good system, folks. Sega Sonic fan. Signing out.